This video is brought to you by Go Nano.
Welcome back to Morning Brew with the homeowners. I'm your host, Dmitry Lipinski. This is the best show for the homeowners, for those who are trying to make better homeowners decision. Anything that relates to hiring a contractor, picking materials. Today, we're talking about what happens when insurance companies, contractors, and homeowners fight over insurance claims. I have the best co-host for this show, Sam Cook, public adjuster from Minneapolis. Actually, we have 4 cases with the 4 different outcomes. The first story is about a roofer who's out $12,000 after State Farm dispute. Sam, what's the story?
Oh, these stories are all too common nowadays. So let's see. The Vencat's roof was torn up by wind back in 2021, but State Farm said only 38 shingles need fixing. It was less than their deductible, so they closed the claim. Their roofer, David Garner, fought State Farm for years with the help of a public adjuster, and finally in 2024, 3 years later, State Farm finally agreed the roof needed full replacement. Garner did the work and turned in all the documents, then State Farm refused to pay the full cost using a clause in the policy that said the work had to be done within 2 years of the last. Garner says that's unfair since State Farm itself delayed approval for more than 3 years. Now he's stuck with a $12,000 loss. He won't go after the homeowner, who he says acted in good faith, but it leaves him without many options. Have you heard that happening before?
I did. How common is it? Like you said it's common. Like, is it like
it's common. Yeah.
It's common?
Yeah. So most insurance policies are going to have either a 1 year or 2 year timeline to get the recoverable depreciation. So recoverable depreciation is the amount that's withheld until you actually do the work. And it's your policy, right? A lot of people forget that an insurance policy is a contract you signed with the insurance company. So you said, hey, I agree with this, and I signed it. People don't realize that. They're in their agent's office. But in that contract you signed, it says you'll either have 1 or 2 years from the date of the storm to get the money. And for State Farm, typically it's 2 years in most states. We're operating only 9 states, but across the majority, it's my understanding, it's 2 years. So when they take 3 years to finally approve the roof, once you go do the work, that recoverable depreciation can't be collected. Ultimately, the issue for me with this is that State Farm also tends to have a suit against us clause. And it says that you will not bring suit against them for, typically it's 1 year for a hail or wind claim or 2 years for any other type of claim, right? So if this is a wind claim, which it seems to be, you have 1 year from the date of loss to sue them. Well, you're like, well, they probably don't have to sue them. Well, here's the thing. If they're refusing to pay that money out, what are you going to do? You're past the timeline where you can sue them. You could file a complaint, but the state's not going to do much about it. As a homeowner, you can complain and leave bad reviews, but that won't do it either. So ultimately, yeah, for them, for the insurance companies, yeah, they drug it out for 3 years, but there's no way to go back after them for it.
So it looks like they intentionally do it because it's like, hey, if we drag it for 3 years, we don't have to pay the depreciation. If they do it on hundreds of claims, has it been proven by anyone that it's intentional?
I don't know.
Deny, delay, defame, right?
I think anyone in our industry is like well aware that it happens, but to actually put together a use case, I would say it's hard to prove that it's intentional from the insurance companies, but there's way too much of a pattern for it not to be, right? And we see this from initial inspections where they're writing for just the bare minimum, right? I've met on site with an adjuster that's like, yeah, I know that we're going to have to pay for XYZ, but we won't pay that until you prove it. Now, to a certain point, I get it, but they're like, we'll pay for these 10 shingles. We're not going to pay the rest. You can submit, these documents, repairability testing, ITELs, matching photos for certain states, stuff like that. And they know from the start they're going to have to pay for it, but they make you jump through all these hoops and prove the loss to the fullest extent. So yeah, this is a very, very common issue.
So big question I have, why not count after the approval? Because my understanding here is they open a claim as a repair and then they supplement it, right? So technically they approve the replacement 3 years later. So why not 2 year period starts at the 3 year approval? Mm-hmm. So like we approve your claim, you have 2 years to do it. Because it seems to me that, hey, we approve it, but we're not gonna do it. Like it's too late. So we approve it to deny it.
Yeah, it's there's common sense and then there's the way adjusters think. That's what I always say. Like it's totally different. From their eyes, I've had multiple, right? We deal with a lot of appraisal work and we have ones we get to the appraisal panel for State Farm specifically. 8/11/2023 was a huge storm in Minnesota, right? A ton of houses were damaged and a lot of them are State Farm, and State Farm had that 2 year suit against us clause, which they also apply to appraisal. And so the last 2-3 months here have been nonstop State Farm appraisals. And every time I'd get out there, the opposing appraiser and the umpire would be like, we would bring up the issue of like, hey, they're probably not going to get depreciation. Like, we need to schedule it soon. Otherwise, if we get past that 2-year mark, they're not going to have time to get it done. And the opposing appraisers and the umpires would always bring up to me, they're like, well, they have 2 years since the date of loss. How is that not enough time? And it's like, well, most homeowners don't know they have damage right away, right? Not until someone comes knock on their door, does an inspection, tells them. So that's called 6 months on average. And then it's another month to get the insurance out, get the check, all that. And then to go the back and forth, I mean, you're already eating up a good chunk of that time. So I think this is going to be more and more common. But to your question, how do we prove it? It would require a lot of people banding together.
So in this story, it looks like the roofer is the one who is not getting paid, because if homeowner cannot pay him, can a roofer still charge? I guess it's a contract on the roof, because if you're the roofer and you're promising homeowners that we will do the work for contingent on approval, well, how does contingency work? Because technically speaking, they did approve, so it's owed to them. Except if insurance company is not paying you, then contingency goes both ways, right? Like if insurance not paying you, I cannot come after you.
Yeah.
That's the promise to the homeowner.
It would depend, because a lot of contractors use, to your point, like insurance proceeds contracts.
Yep.
So like, hey, we're charging what the insurance proceeds are. But it depends if those are written like, hey, we're charging this much of what the insurance is paying out, or we're charging the amount that they approved the roof for. Because ultimately they did approve the roof. Let's say it's $20,000. They approved the roof for $20,000, but they're only paying out $12,000. So it would depend on the verbiage in the insurance proceeds contract. My biggest issue with this is that they had a public adjuster on them, and it doesn't seem that the public adjuster notified the contractor or notified the homeowner that, hey, this is past that deadline.
So you're blaming public adjuster for this miscommunication mess up? So in other words, it could be preventable?
It could be preventable, and they should have ultimately, if you're a roofer, you're a public adjuster, you're a homeowner, if you're past that deadline, reach out to the carrier before the deadline. But if you notice you're after, reach out to them and say, hey, if I get this work done, will the money be paid out? Because there are carriers out there and adjusters that will look and go, yeah, you know what, we did something wrong. We'll go outside of our normal agreement. We'll pay that money out and get it in writing. But the fact that that doesn't seem to have been done is not a good look for the public adjuster.
Is that one of the reasons to hire a public adjuster? Can public adjuster truly speed up that process? So instead of waiting 3 years and collapse all the coverage, can they speed up to get it within that 2 years?
For sure. Yeah. So I own a supplementing company where we do supplementing for contractors. And then I also own a public adjusting firm. The public adjusting firm, we get responses significantly quicker. And when we don't, we can request management. We can call in and actually talk to the same level the homeowner can. We can file complaints. So we're able to get stuff moving away that a supplementer or a contractor kind of gets put in a chokehold for.
Where do you think the industry is going? Because I feel like one of the best business models out there is a roofer is a roofer. So he provides the estimate from his company, from his business. Hey, you have a problem, we're going to fix it. If insurance pays for it, it's a bonus. So like your roof costs $22,000. We'll get it like as much from insurance as possible. So let's say they pay you $12,000. Good for you. Half of it covers. You only owe half of it. So it's a good bonus. I think it's the best model. And I think that's where it's truly going. But a lot of roofers are not equipped to do that kind of sale. They can only sell free stuff, which is not even a sale. What kind of sales pitch is that? The only thing you have to sell is deductible, and many of them can't even do that. They'll eating even that. So you're selling $30,000 roof for $1,500, and you still cannot charge that.
Yeah, there's a lot in the sales processes, right? There's a reason there's so many sales trainers in the roofing space, because it really is a broken process going door to door. Hey, it's free. Hey, insurance will cover it, right? Oh, your deductible's only $1,000. Ultimately, I think to answer your question, where the industry is going, it's going to be, for the most part, it's going to be contractors are still going out, doing the door to door, getting clients, but a lot of them are going to take anything that's denied or not approved right off the bat, and they're going to be handing off to public adjusters. We already have that trend. We went from taking just the worst claims to, all right, now we're taking denied claims. Now we have contractors that are like, hey, just every claim is going to go your way first, because we're not a PA and we're not here to discuss claims and deal with them, right? And so they'll just refer the homeowners to a PA, which I think is the inevitable path, which is really, really unfortunate for homeowners. I mean, it leaves them, they're really getting the short end of the stick with it.
Well, what a story to start the show today. When we come back, we have another one, completely different outcome. Roofer did get paid in full, but he demands insurance check from the homeowner anyway. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Are you stupid and think you need a new roof? You don't! You just need Go Nano.
Really?
Your roof has been left battered from years of hail damage, granule loss, and other random threats.
That's just Ned.
Hey, you tell your dog not to piss on my plants!
Don't worry, Ned, he didn't. That was all me.
Yeah, I thought it was you, one of your stupid kids!
Go Nano uses nanotechnology to strengthen your roof from the inside out, slowing down aging, protecting it from UV rays, granule loss, hail damage, and extends the life by 15 years. Guaranteed.
15 years. It's pretty good. It's longer than any woman's one been willing to stick around with me.
Other companies use soybean oil or bio oil and only offer temporary protection. Go Nano protects you at the nanoscale.
So you don't have to buy a whole new roof?
No! That would cost you thousands. Go Nano can extend the life of your roof for 85% less than a new roof.
Well, that would leave me a lot of money for that moat I want to build.
Oh no, not a moat. If anyone tried to get to your house, it would very briefly slow them down.
Stay on your side of the road.
A roof without Go Nano is like a car without seatbelts, or a castle without a moat. Get smart, get Go Nano.
And we are back. Second story of the day. So this roofer got paid in full and still demanded homeowner's insurance check. Here's details. Max Sutter White hired Dave Sutter to replace his roof. Insurance first denied the claim. So Max paid $23,000 out of pocket. Weeks later, insurance sent him a surprise $9,000 check. That's never happened. But hey, sometimes those insurance companies paying out claims they should not be paying. And that's part of the problem too, guys. That's when Sutter texted saying he wanted to cut off the insurance money. Then he sent a formal lawyer's letter asking for $6,000. Max refused and filed a complaint with the DA. Lawyers who looked at the contract says it's clear Max had already paid in full. This isn't Sutter's first run in either. He sued homeowners in the past but skipped lots of hearings. He must have decided this was a losing battle too, since the case never made it to court. Do you see that happening often?
No, that's called fraud. So yeah, the insurance company denied the roof. So the homeowner was like, all right, I'll pay out of pocket. Paid full retail price. Like he did pay for the full roof. And then the insurance had sent him a check, which I don't even know how the contractor found out about it. But they sent him a check, which ultimately was part of that, amount he already paid. So he should recover that.
Yep.
I researched into the story, and the contractor's stance was, well, I should ask for the full $9,000 you got from your insurance, but I decided $6,000 was fair since the work's been done.
Here's what I want to discuss with this story. And if you're a roofer, comment below if you're watching this on YouTube, because I want to hear your opinion. It's very controversial, and we talk a lot about retail estimates and insurance estimates, and why insurance estimates are higher than retail, because a lot of roofers deal with it at the door. When they go to the homeowners and they pitch them to work with their insurance companies, they'll say, we're not going to give you the price, we'll work for insurance proceeds, right? Retail, and the homeowners will say, no, give me the price. And they'll say, well, I'm not going to give you the price because we work for insurance. So usually it's a little bit more. And I want to explain that really quick. The reason is because you have to add another department. One, you have supplementer, public adjuster, whoever is involved, it does cost more. Your roofer is not greedy by asking it. He literally will spend more money on that claim. Retail, it's in and out, 50% down, 50% at the end, or 30, 70, whatever. So your roofer is not always greedy. But now, in cases like this, when the roofer gets paid, let's say $20,000, but he finds out that insurance paid $28,000, right? Do you owe him that $8,000, especially if it's a retail contract? For me, this one is a greed example, right? So this roofer would not go after the homeowner if he would not know that they got like $9,000 extra. What do you think, Sam?
Yes, it's a bizarre case. The main issue I see is a lot of contractors, and I get where they're coming from, but they treat a lot of homeowners' claims like it's their claim. And I've heard contractors, owners of companies, people in the company being like, well, that's our claim. It's our claim. It's like, that's not your claim. It's not your house. It's not, you're not even a public adjuster.
Good way to put it.
And so they look at it as if it's like, well, that's my money. And it's like, you wouldn't have known you had damage if I didn't knock on your door. I didn't climb on your roof. And it's like, you're right, but you also pitched that as part of your service. And now you're coming back that, you're this holy thing. And so I think it's an ego issue is the first issue. But to your point about the pricing, yes, I believe insurance roofing should pay more than retail roofing. No different than if you go to the dentist. If you go to your dentist and you're paying with insurance, they charge insurance a higher cost than if you're paying out of pocket because you need a supplementing department, not to mention your accounts receivable department, and you need documentation and photos like you would never believe. Your sales reps going out there multiple times, right? You're doing all this back and forth. Then you have to explain the homeowner. So it's like, no, I mean, ultimately, you should be getting 20, 30, 40% more on an insurance job because of the hoops they make you jump through. And as long as they're okay paying it, which they are, they know Xactimate is higher than retail and they're okay paying that because they understand the additional layers that go with it. But for this roofer, he's not owed that money. He didn't do those steps. Did he go out and have him file a claim? Sure. But it doesn't seem like he did anything additional to get more than what a retail price for this roof would have been, right? He did his work. They said, oh, claims denied, shook hands, wrote a contract, wrote an estimate, and that was it. It was done. Homeowner paid the full thing. There was no supplementing. There was no accounts receivable. It doesn't make sense.
I also want to send this message to the homeowners. For those of you who thinks that your contractor is greedy if he works with insurance companies, let me just tell you this. Insurance company, usually, it doesn't matter if it's State Farm, Allstate, it's average size of the company, I think, is like $50-60 billion. Those are giant corporations. I promise you this. Insurance companies never overpay on the claims. That does not happen. So when you look at the check and you're like, $29,000, it seems like too much. My roofer is greedy. I guarantee you it's probably 30% less than the market value. And it's probably should be $35,000. Like, I guarantee you, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of claims, and the chances of your insurance companies to overpay for anything is slim. Usually it's other way around. Usually your roofer gonna be fighting, and maybe he will get a little bit more on one end, but then he will get underpaid on, gutter removal. Like gutter as a trade never gets proper amount all over the country. I talk to contractors all the time. Insurance pays, $4.50, and we pay gutter guys $6-7 a foot. Who do you think cover that difference? Well, we cover it because we will get a little bit more on the roof. So we call it even if it's not even. So please treat your contractor with respect because he's going through a lot of headaches. Now, sometimes, and this is once maybe in 1,000 cases where insurance just does something what they're supposed to do without fighting them. So I think in this case, it's a rare case where a contractor did not do, to Sam's point, did not do what they were usually do, right? And the contractor, treated as a bonus, just like, why not, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I think to take one step back to the insurance companies never overpay, right? Like I deal with hundreds of claims a year, and out of, let's say, 500 claims in a year, 475 of them are paid what they should or underpaid, right? Most of them underpaid. 25 out of 500 would be what I would consider slightly overpaid, right? They may have added an extra event. They might have added a little bit more waste than what I thought would have been normal, right? Like it's not like they're way overpaying. If they're overpaying by a little, well, that math doesn't really add up. If you underpay, 95% and you overpay 2%, it's not proportional. So yeah, if your contractor is telling you they're not paying enough, 99% of the time they're right. And even if they are paying a little more, understand that he's taking a beating on dozens of other claims.
Also, I want to send a message to my contractors. Know what business you're in and what business you are not. So many contractors are just confused. They're trying to get absolutely everything. Like this guy here, just because you can, I absolutely hate when contractors treat their homeowners like they're a saver. But I got you approved. I got your claim. Without me, you would not even know you have it. It's BS. What you do, everybody can do. Like there's so many good contractors out there with good attitudes. The homeowner don't have to sign with the first contractor knocking on the door. So usually contractor will try to pressure them. Sky's falling attitude. Like, hey, we're not going to file your claim today. Your roof started leaking tomorrow. No, if it's a hail damage, you truly have months to think and to do your research and pick your contractor of choice. Who are you comfortable to do it? So stop scaring your homeowners and tell them that you are the one. You might be the great guy. I'm not against you, but this fear tactic and this egoistical claims that Without me, you would not get new roof. Not true. You sometimes you don't even have to have a contractor for insurance company to approve it. Like you literally can call adjuster, they come in and give you the check, and now you're shopping a lot for the contractor. A lot of people do it that way. So contractors, you need to have attitude adjustment how you deal with the claims.
I agree. The other part is you mentioned, knowing what business you're in and then maybe kind of think about the business of being a contractor, right? And for this guy to chase after $6,000 additional, do you think this homeowner is going to leave him a good review? Or do you think he's going to go out of his way to make sure he doesn't screw other homeowners, right?
It's lose-lose.
And so this goes back to something we've talked about in a previous episode about bad reviews and, how much of an effect that has on business. And for this guy, ultimately, if he just said, hey, you know what, we're good, didn't chase after it, he might have got a referral from this job. And I guarantee what he'd make on that referral would more than make up what he was trying to recover from this. And so knowing what business you're in, it's also important to know and think past Friday night. I see a lot of contractors, very short-term, very narrow window, thinking one claim, not think about the long-term effects of this.
Very, very true. And also think about that referral and that reputation. This is one of those cases when Warren Buffett says it takes 20 years to build reputation, 5 minutes to ruin it. Last week, we were talking about negative reviews. You go after the homeowner, suing them over one-star review, you might ruin your reputation for life. If this story airs on the radio, on TV, on YouTube, wherever, if people find out in your community that you're doing that kind of stuff, guess how many referrals you're going to get. I mean, sooner or later, like you don't, like in law, you only need one case, someone to lose, and boom, nobody else can do it because now we have a precedent. So if you have one negative review that you're doing this, anybody like that review can cost you 10, 20, 30 potential jobs because people will read it. It's like, nope, not hiring this guy. Too aggressive, too not fair.
Yeah. Yeah, the supply and demand, to your point of contractors, is not what most contractors think it is, right? We call Minnesota the land of 10,000 roofers because it is. And so for you to think, well, one bad review won't do anything, or, this one customer I should go after. And it's like, you got to understand, a homeowner's not going to go and read through all your comments and really think about it. They're going to look and see one bad one that's going to stand out at the top, and they're going to go, all right, move down. And there's going to be a list of 200 contractors ready for their business. You have to be very mindful of that.
Another thing with insurance claims and this amounts, because we're dealing with the thousands of dollars, oftentimes you will be getting felony if they prove that it's some kind of fraud. I know a contractor out of Illinois. He took a deposit from lady and did not do the job for like 3 months. She filed a report. He had the previous felony and they locked him up for like 30 days. Mm-hmm. So like if you already have some kind of record and you took someone's deposit and they actually come after you, and we're talking about $6,000, $7,000, you might be liable. So it's not that innocent. When we come back after the break, we have one more story, which is crazy. 11 felonies, 2-0. Roofing salesman fights back. Don't go anywhere. I have all the spicy details when we're back.